Hello, everyone. I'm going to switch to Portuguese. Boa tarde a todos. Meu nome é Simone Ferreira, sou orientadora do EducationUSA na PUC Rio de Janeiro, e é um prazer estar aqui com vocês hoje. Hoje a gente tem uma universidade, uma representante de universidade falando sobre um assunto muito interessante, e agora eu vou passar para o inglês. So, hello, everyone. I'm Simone Ferreira, EducationUSA advisor based in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I'm very happy to have here with me today Sarah Saborio, and she's a representative from the University of Wisconsin, Madison, and she'll be talking about virtual program for international high school students. She has lots of good things to share with you, and this is one of the events we are doing to celebrate the International Education Week. So stay tuned. Pay attention, send your questions her way. Sarah has lots of experience and she will be able to answer your questions. And remember to take a look at our agenda. If you go to our website, educationusa.org.br, or to our social media, Instagram and Facebook, you'll see all the events we have been planning for the International Education Week. With no further ado, Sarah, thank you for being here today. I'm going to turn off my mic, but I'm going to be here listening and learning for you. Thank you.
Awesome, thanks. Hi, everybody. My name, as Simone said, is Sarah Saborio, and I work with the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and specifically with our pre-college programs. So those would be students for high school programs. But I have, as Simone mentioned, a lot of information, and hopefully if you come here even with other questions at the end, I'm happy to try and answer, give you the information you need. I want to start by saying I love to learn a little bit from you as we're presenting. So feel free, I'll have a few slides where I'd love for you to throw your answers in the chat, just for me to learn a little bit about you and your interests. And that way I can also maybe tailor or modify what I say a little bit to what you want to know. So I want to start, this green slide is a signal to you that I'd love to know what you think. Please start by telling me what you think you want to be doing 10 years from now. So you can answer in the chat. Tell me what you think. I'm not sure how old you are, but if you're in high school, even if you're in college, 10 years is a long way away. And I want to know where you see yourself in a different country, in a certain job, maybe in a graduate program, but go ahead and put your answers in the chat. And as we move on to the next couple slides, I'll take a look at those as we're talking. So again, I'm from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and I'm here today to talk to you about a program called EducationUSA Academy, which is a great program for high school students. And I want to start by first introducing where exactly Wisconsin is, because my guess is you might not have heard of where Wisconsin or the University of Wisconsin-Madison is. So Wisconsin, as you can see here, is a state in the Midwest. Okay, so we're located in the central northern part of the country. We do have 4 seasons because we're very north. It's getting into winter where we live, and snow actually just fell the other day, so it's getting cold. Madison is the capital of Wisconsin, and we're located about 2.5 hours north of the city of Chicago. So if you've ever heard of Chicago, we're relatively close to there. So over the next short while, what I hope to share with you is some information first about Madison and the University of Wisconsin, so you know a little bit more about where I'm coming from and where these programs are offered. But then I want to talk to you a little bit about admissions in to U.S. higher education and how that is very much kind of connected to study abroad opportunities for high school students and virtual study abroad opportunities, which are the EducationUSA Academy and Connects programs. And then I also want to mention to you a scholarship opportunity we have right now for Brazilian students in our virtual programs. So if you're interested in possible financial support for some of these programs, make sure you stay and hear about that. So let's first talk about why would you be interested in Madison, potentially in the University of Wisconsin-Madison. So as I mentioned earlier, Wisconsin is a state in the Midwest. We have a population of about 5.8 million people. So very small compared to, I'm sure, even some of your larger cities in Brazil. But we're a state that's very much focused on agriculture, As you can see, we produce a lot of milk, a lot of cows in Wisconsin. We have 4 distinct seasons, and we love being outdoors, no matter what the weather is. As far as Madison, you can see here, actually is the capital, as I mentioned, and our university is connected to kind of our government center. So the city is just built around the campus, really. We were labeled the best city to live this year in the United States. So it's a great place for safety, for job opportunities, for education, for like environmental focus. And it's really, really, honestly, a fun place to be when you're studying. It's always ranked as very high for kind of the student experience. Now, here are some rankings for you. I do want to mention that I absolutely support and agree with EducationUSA's idea as well, that you need to pick a school that's based on the best fit for you. So I put these rankings on here more to let you know a little bit about kind of what we value in Madison, but know that the best school for you is one that offers school, programs you like and offers activities you like and has like the size that you're looking for. I think something just important to know is we are a large research institution. We have 45,000 students. 4,000 students are international students. So we're a very diverse campus. And because we're research-based, we spend a lot of our money on research. So you can see we're ranked 8th for research expenditure. So if you're somebody who is interested in doing research during your studies, Madison might be a good choice for you. We also have quite a few faculty members who have earned Nobel Prizes, and we send more students than anyone in the country to the Peace Corps. And the Peace Corps is an organization that sends students all over the world to do different projects that benefit society and humanity. And so we send more students than ever to that program. Something interesting to know also, if you're a high school student or even an undergraduate student thinking about opportunities to study abroad, is Madison has 130 different undergraduate majors. Now, just to be clear, a major is what you might think of as like a career, right? It's something that you study, like business or electrical engineering or something like that. So we have 130 different majors. And then we also have 90, slightly more than 90 certificates. So certificates are also maybe known as minors. Minors are things that you also kind of get a degree for, but you study it less. So usually they go with a major. Like, for example, some people might study business and minor in Spanish because they want to be able to do Spanish, business in Spanish. So they study business a lot for many, many semesters, and maybe they study Spanish for some, a couple semesters. So that would be their certificate or their minor, okay? And then this just explains a little bit about all the different schools that are on our campus and where those different majors fit. So for example, we have a school of engineering, but there's tons of majors in engineering, right? Or we have a school of business, but there's tons of majors in business. So there's a lot of opportunity to study and explore. So I want to take a minute to kind of look at a big picture about US higher education and admissions. And the reason I want to talk to you about this is because, in particular, if you're a high school student, it's important to know what schools in general, not just UW-Madison, look at when they look at your application for their institution. So at the University of Wisconsin-Madison and at many other schools in the United States, we have what's called a holistic approach to admissions. So what does holistic mean? What holistic means is that we don't just care about your grades or your test scores. They're important. You have to have good grades and you have to do well on tests. But we care about other things that you're involved in. So what does that mean? So leadership skills. Do you have any sorts of activities at school or in your community that show that you're a leader? Maybe there's a student government and you're part of the student government, or maybe there's some sort of business or marketing club at your school and you're part of that. So showing that you're a leader in some way is valuable to admissions in the United States. Okay, are you involved in your community? So are you part of a religious group or a church or some sort of organization, maybe that does things in the community, or maybe you volunteer in the community, or maybe you do some sort of activity outside of school that shows that you're trying to work and benefit others, okay? Do you achieve things in arts, sports, or other extracurricular activities? For example, music, right? Do you play an instrument and maybe perform, or are you part of a band or an orchestra? Things like this show that you're different and are more than somebody who can just study, study, study and get really good grades. Because a lot of kids who apply to these schools get really good grades, but they need to have things that make them different, right? So these are things sometimes in some countries, they talk about your profile, right? So what is your kind of profile as a student? Another thing is you have diverse personal experiences. So what I mean by that is maybe there's something unique in your life that you've experienced that makes you different, and it was a challenge you had to overcome, or something that you can talk about and show to the university, any university, you know, that you're a hard worker and you rise above challenges. So something could be, for example, maybe you had to travel a lot when you were younger. Maybe your parents moved you to different places and you had to go to different schools, or you had to learn how to work with different people in different cultures, right? That's very unique. Not a lot of people do that. And that's something you could talk about, and that kind of makes you who you are and shows that you're different, okay? And then the last thing I think is kind of related to all of these, honestly, but I think universities also often are looking for students who can show that they're going to somehow contribute to the future of, and in a positive way, right? To the community of the university or the community in general, right? So maybe, again, this goes back to, are you involved in other things that show that above and beyond studying, that you want to work and kind of benefit society in some way? Because of course, every institution loves to have alumni. Alumni are people who already graduated. They want to have alumni who are doing amazing things, right? And can demonstrate kind of how they took what they learned at the university and helped the greater, you know, the common good. So I want to take a minute here, and I would like you to answer in the chat, if you have a chance, of why do you think you would consider study abroad as a high school student? I think it's very common for us to think, yeah, when we're in college, we want to study abroad, or maybe we want to do our whole undergraduate degree abroad. But there are lots of opportunities for high school students to study abroad. Why would this be good? If you have an idea, feel free to throw it in the chat. And I will move on and we'll start to look at some ideas, okay? So let's talk first about an in-person program as a study abroad student, because there are two options, right? Simone mentioned about virtual, and we're going to look at that as well in a second. But there are two kinds of choices for study abroad, in-person or virtual. So of course, if you're in person, you get the chance to see a different part of the world, right? You're going to another city or another country, and you're meeting people from all over. You're therefore gaining a global perspective. What does that mean? It means you're talking to people who are different from you, right? Who have different backgrounds, different languages, different experiences, different religions. And so you're getting the chance to learn from these different people, okay? You very much get the chance to experience personal growth. I don't know if any of you have gone away from your families for a long period of time, but when you do that, you have to become very independent, right? You need to be responsible for yourself, take care of yourself. If you get sick and need some help, you need to take the initiative to go ask for help. So there's a lot of things that you as a person get to kind of grow and develop independently when you're away from your family for a little while. English language immersion, of course, is an awesome part about study abroad. And this happens both virtual and in person, right? When you're participating in a program that is from, you know, coming out of a country that speaks English, you're going to be engaging in English all the time. So it's a great way to really quickly work on improving your skills, okay? All right, you get the chance, of course, to meet people from different backgrounds, test your ability to adapt to new situations. I think we all, of course, experienced during the pandemic a very fast change to our lives and new situations. And I think that the reality is, right, our world is very much interconnected. And so you may think you'll be in Rio for forever, or maybe you don't want to, we don't know. But the point is it gives you the chance to experience trying something new, because you never know where life will take you. I actually live in Costa Rica right now, even though I work for the university. And so this is an example of how I never expected to be in a different country, in a different language with different people. But here I am. And I had actually studied abroad also in high school and college. And having those experiences helps me to adapt a little bit when I'm in a new situation. Okay. And then really importantly, study abroad, virtual or in person, gives you the chance to go back to that thing I talked about earlier, which is have something unique about yourself for a college application. When you have to write a personal statement, what a great thing to write about. This experience you had studying abroad and being in a place different from you and learning from new people and people different. So it's a great opportunity to kind of enhance those experiences you have that you need to share in your applications, okay? So that's for in-person. Now there are also online programs. And as I mentioned in a minute, we actually have an online program in January that's offering scholarships to Brazilian students. And so, you know, online, I know a lot of us are tired from the pandemic, but the reality of it is sometimes online can be really great, okay? Because it's obviously less expensive. It's sometimes much more accessible, and you can still have, depending on the program, a really interactive experience. So one thing that's great about an interactive online program is that, of course, it's flexible, right? So you can easily connect from wherever you are. You get the chance to develop a lot of soft skills. So if you're not familiar with what soft skills are skills that you don't necessarily learn about in a textbook, right? Or in a class, but they're things you learn through working through different experiences. So leadership, creativity, critical thinking, problem solving. These are all super important skills, okay? That you'll need both for success in college as well as success in life and in your job. And a lot of these develop when you're working with others who are different from you and sharing ideas and collaborating. And when you're doing it virtually, you have no choice but to share those ideas, right? Via the way you talk. So it's a really great chance to actually work on that communication and that problem solving and listening to each other and thinking critically. Okay. It's also a great practice, an online course in motivation, because you're the one who has to get up and connect and turn on your video and make sure that you're paying attention to what's going on. Okay, there's no teacher, you know, sitting in the classroom telling you to pay attention if you get distracted. So you have to really be motivated yourself. You still get that chance to be exposed to people from all over the world, but from your own home. It's obviously less expensive because you don't have to travel. You don't have the visa costs or the visa timelines that you might have to wait for an in-person program. And it too is a great way to build a college application, okay? So now let's move into some examples of these programs. So these programs are EducationUSA Academy and EducationUSA Academy Connects. So first, what is EducationUSA Academy in general, okay? EducationUSA Academy is a college prep program for international high school students like you. So if you're a high school student who wants to essentially study abroad, either virtually or in person, this would be the kind of program for you. Now, when I say college prep, what I mean is that there are kind of two parts of these programs. The first is the part that gets you ready for college with admissions and financial aid and those kinds of questions. But there's also the part that's kind of an academic focus. So there is actually a theme, and I'll show you our themes in a minute. But so in addition to that, you'll also be doing something either with business or engineering or design, depending on the school that's offering the program, okay? So these are in-person experiences and virtual experiences, and there are a couple different options. So some are happening in the US winter, which is this coming January and February. Some are happening in the summer, and in the summer it's virtual and in person. In the winter, they're just virtual, okay? And these are offered by schools, a variety of schools across the country. So there's a website that has all of the different offerings, and you can check. UW-Madison is one example of a school that has this program for you. So let's take a look at our in-person program at UW-Madison. Okay, in-person is a program that's running in July 1st to the 22nd. The cost is $4,900, and this cost includes kind of everything except your airline ticket and your visa costs. So once you arrive to Chicago, we pick you up and all of your housing, food, materials, insurance, everything is covered. And then you have to pay your airline ticket to go home. Okay. Our theme this year, as I mentioned, each program has a theme, is innovating solutions to a sustainable future. What does that mean? So basically what you're going to be doing in our program is, in addition to all of that information about getting ready for college, you're going to have the chance to do workshops and activities related to sustainability and entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is starting your own business, right? Business. So if you're interested in computer science or engineering, is this kind of a program relevant? It's still relevant to you, and I'll tell you why. Because no matter what major you have, right, business is always going to be a part of it. There always is some sort of, right, financing and money that's involved. And I think all of us share an interest in protecting the environment. So I think that programs like this, even if the theme isn't exactly what you think you want to study, one thing that's great about these programs is that it gives you the chance to try something different. And so before you go to college, you've had the chance to see some different kinds of careers. You've had the chance to go to a school and learn about different majors. And maybe it helps you make sure that what you want to study is actually a great fit for you, or maybe it opens your eyes to some other options, okay? So in this program, you do things like you meet with admissions and advising, financial aid. You have workshops with the Writing Center to prepare a personal statement for an application to the United States and a United States higher ed institution. You're obviously working a lot with sustainability and environmentalism and entrepreneurship. What's cool is that in these programs on the weekends, you get to do a bunch of fun stuff, right? So you get to go to, for example, for us, either Milwaukee or Chicago, two very big cities. You get to visit a state park and go hiking and swimming. And we also are taking you, all of the EducationUSA academies, take you to visit 2 other schools so that you can see not just, for example, UW-Madison as a big institution, but maybe a community college or maybe a private school, so that you get the chance to kind of compare and maybe find a school that's that good fit for you, like we talked about earlier. Now let's take a look at Connects. So Connects is the virtual program that we offer. And this is the one that I mentioned has a scholarship. So pay close attention because this will give you an idea of kind of what you could do if you're interested in this scholarship. So as you can see, the Connects program is super interactive. The programs we had this summer had students from a ton of different countries, right? So we had students from Costa Rica, Chile, the Caribbean, different countries in Europe, Turkey, right? So it's a very, very diverse group of students. Now, what is Academy Connects? Academy Connects is a virtual program. So this is an online program, and the theme is STEAM exploration and skills for college success. So STEAM exploration means that you're going to be interacting. It's not just sitting and listening to lectures, okay? It's very much interactive. And you're going to be talking to people who do research, and you can ask them questions about different things that they do in the fields of science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, okay? The cost is $490, and there are a couple different times that we're offering the program this year. So there's one in January. It only meets twice a week, so it's not every day. It's Mondays and Wednesdays between January 9th and February 3rd. And then we also have some programs in July and August, and you can see they're at different times to try and help people with different schedules. This class or this course, again, is very much interactive. So it's not a course where you get on for 2 hours each day and just sit with your camera off. Okay, very much you will be engaging in discussion, asking questions, giving presentations, and also having virtual school tours. Now, let's take a look at the scholarship that I mentioned. So for our January program, which is the program that's running from January 9th to February 3rd, UW-Madison's offering 2 partial scholarships, so 50% scholarships to Brazilian students who are interested in the virtual program. So what do you need to do? There's actually a very simple process that I can send to you if you're interested and you want to email me, that just details that you'll need a reference from either an advisor or an English instructor just to give us kind of an insight into you and your study habits, a very simple application form. And then you either need to submit a very short, like 1-minute video, or if you have trouble with the video, we could also just accept a written kind of submission that talks a little bit about you and tells us why you're interested in the program and what you hope to get out of it. Okay, so very simple. It's just for us to kind of learn a little bit about you. If you're interested, you can email me. I have my email on the last slide. And the application deadline's coming up. So you've got about 2 weeks, a week and a half in order to submit this information. So let's wrap up. So over the last couple of minutes, we've talked a little bit about kind of how universities in the US look at admissions and why maybe high school study abroad is a good option for you, either in person or virtual, to kind of improve your profile or your application to an institution. So I want you guys, I hope, to walk away from this knowing that high school study abroad is a great way for you to explore schools to find a good fit for you. Remember, in these EducationUSA Academy programs, you get to see other schools, not just UW-Madison. So it's a great way to see kind of what school might be a good choice for you. Okay, it gives you the chance to learn about the international student experience. So in these programs, if you're in person, of course, you're meeting other international students. But if you're virtual, we connect you with international students at UW-Madison to learn about what it's like. How does it feel when you get on campus and you're trying to figure out where your dorm is and where your classes are? And they'll answer these questions for you. okay? It also gives you the chance, and I think this is really important, that you get to look at new majors and student opportunities. I think sometimes when we're in high school, it's very hard to know what we want to do. Maybe our parents tell us what we want to do. Sorry, we know that, you know, this is a really pays a lot of money, but maybe it's not the best fit for us. So why don't you take the chance to go ahead and explore a little bit more, okay? Next, let's take a look at the next slide, which is, I think we're having a problem. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. All right, sorry, I think it cut out for just a moment. Yes, so one other thing is to get the chance to hear from admissions and financial aid and learn a little bit about those. And then have a global experience that sets you apart from others on a college application. So that is where I finish. And I want to thank you very much for your information, or your time, but I also want to ask you, what will be your next step if you're interested in studying abroad or going to the States for some sort of education? I want you to think about, and feel free to ask now about any questions about your next step. Thank you guys very much. Here's information about our program. Here's information about all the majors we have at UW in case you're interested. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions.
Great presentation, Sarah. You explained everything so well. Could you go back and show again the slide where you're talking about application process for the academy and the scholarships?
Yep, this one?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
so classes will start on January 9th and goes until February 3rd. So this is a feasible timing for Brazilian prospective students. So the students need to submit a short video and English and academic reference. And this is my question. When you say English and academic reference, you mean a letter of recommendation for example, from an English teacher? What do you exactly are talking about?
Yeah.
What exactly?
So actually, it's even simpler than that, to be honest. We have a very simple form that you would just give to, and you could submit it electronically to an instructor or an advisor, and they would simply be able to kind of mark some boxes, write a couple sentences about you, and then they would just email it directly to us. And what I can do is, after the presentation, I can absolutely send that file to you, Simone, and then also any student who is interested in receiving it, you're welcome to just email me and I can send you, we have kind of two documents, one that just explains the process, and then one is that reference document.
Okay, and Sarah, yes, I would love if you could share this with me. And also to, can I share your PowerPoint? If you could share your PowerPoint with me, maybe I could share with the advisors in the network. What do you think?
Yeah, that would be perfectly fine.
Wonderful, because the information is there. And so, and there is the application form, and there is no fee, right?
For the application, no, there's no fee at all. No.
Okay.
And I should say, you know, registration is open now. So if you're interested in the scholarship, of course, reach out to us. Again, you've got a kind of a quick window, so just make sure you don't wait. But if you're interested in just applying without the scholarship, you could register today. The website that I showed you on the last screen has the Connects registration.
So, okay, so the students, let me, because I took some shots here, but let me see. So the students that will receive these scholarships, they pay about 2,500, right? Yes.
No, sorry, this is for the Connects virtual program. So this is the virtual program in winter. That one was the program that was $490.
Oh,
so they,
okay.
Yeah. So they pay $245. And then we cover so I'll actually write this in the chat, $245 if you receive the scholarship, because we cover the other half.
Okay, let me, yes, I definitely need your PowerPoint. And yes, perfect.
Okay. And then I see a question in the chat about Will there be any more scholarships in the Act for Connects in the summer? So as of right now, no. We presently are offering specifically for Brazilian students in the winter. There are other programs in the summer that we have scholarships offered in different countries based on kind of the academic calendars and when we thought students would be available. So if you're interested, I would recommend trying to do winter, because that's where you'll have the chance of a scholarship.
Yes, winter in the US and summer in
Yes,
Brazil.
I should say that. Yeah, sorry about that. Winter.
No, it's okay, just to clarify.
That's true. You're right.
Okay, winter in the US.
Uh-huh.
And I have another question. You already kind of answered, but this is a question that students and parents, they are always bringing to us, which is, you talk about soft skills and how important they are, etc. But you said that if students attend the programs, they will be learning from experts, and they will be improving their soft skills and so. But could you give some examples about how would be a schedule, for example, for a week? What kind of activities involving soft skills and not soft skills that students would be dealing in a daily routine, for example?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll talk about Connects first. So this is the virtual program. So remember, this is a program that meets twice a week for a couple hours. So I was actually just looking at the schedule before we came to this presentation. But to give you an example, remember first of all, what's important to remember is soft skills aren't necessarily something you necessarily take a class on, right? There's something you apply during your interactions with others for the most part. But we do have a few workshops. So in the Connects program, in the first week, you have a conversation with the Career Center advisor, right? And she's going to have you discussing and kind of examining your interests related to different skills and different needs for certain skills in STEAM fields. So you'll be discussing, you'll kind of be evaluating and thinking critically about your own abilities and how that aligns with maybe careers that you're interested in. Okay, you'll also be collaborating with others as you share this discussion. We also have a really great center on campus called our Jones Leadership Center. They actually are an actual kind of workshop on leadership skills, and they do a variety of activities, and they'll do one with you during the Connects program, where they have their team members come in and they present different scenarios, situations to you in teams, and you have to work together and think creatively to solve problems and kind of be leaders around these situations that they present to you. So that's kind of an example of a specific workshop. Another thing you might see in the course of a week, for example, is we have individuals that come in, like I mentioned, and might be professors or international students presenting ideas of their research or problems they're trying to deal with related to STEAM fields, right? So we have somebody who is actually a student from Nigeria, and he's presented in the past because he works with crops and like drought and issues related to seeds in drought settings. And what's really cool is his presentation, is maybe 20 minutes, but then we leave a lot of time for you as a student to listen and ask questions and engage with him. And so this is where you kind of apply those leadership skills of taking initiative to ask questions, to learn more, to inquire about the experience of him as a student and also about his research. And so they kind of the soft skills come in a form of kind of passively just engaging with the curriculum, as well as some active examples of like a leadership workshop that we would run with you through the Jones experience, if that makes sense.
Makes all the sense, because you offer so many possibilities to students, and soft skills will naturally develop.
Right, through your engagement and their engagement with each other and with the speakers and the topics. Exactly. Yep.
And one more question. How many students usually you have joining for example, the Connects and also the other program?
Yep.
The name of the other program. Sorry.
That one's just called the Academy. So with Connects, it really varies. In the past, we've had up to 25 students in a program. Something really important to know, though, is I mentioned before that the Connects program is very interactive. So when we have larger groups, what we do is we bring in several staff members to do a lot of breakout rooms. So the lecture, like the talk of that 20 minutes, is all as a big group. But then what we do is we break you into smaller groups for discussions. And so in those discussion groups, you're in about 7 to 8 students, okay? And in the winter, to be honest, we anticipate a smaller group, which is actually nice because then there's more opportunity for you to be interacting. In the in-person program, which is the academy, this is the one that is typically around 12 to 15 students. So this is a smaller group. This is the one where you actually come to UW-Madison and are in person. But something very important, I think interesting to know is this is an international student program, which means that all the students, I'm actually going to show you a photo. All the students in this program, this picture is actually from our last program. It had 10 students from 9 different countries. Okay, wow. So it's very, very, very diverse. But these students are actually, living on campus next to all the domestic students who are in programs over the summer. So in the evenings and on the weekends, those kind of fun social activities are with domestic students, but your coursework is with the international group that you're with.
Wonderful. Wow, great opportunities for everyone.
It is indeed.
It really is. Virtual, both. Yes. Wonderful. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just go to the last slide for my contact information. And I really mean it when I say if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out and I'll forward you the scholarship information.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much. And I hope everybody enjoys the rest of International Education Week. Thanks a lot.
Wonderful.
Take care.
Thank you. And please, everyone, take a look at our agenda. Remember, International Education Week, we have been doing, and we will do so many activities, not just this week, but in the next following weeks until the end of the month, November the 30th. We have still 2 weeks from now. Please take a look at our social media, website, and also today we are launching the undergraduate opportunity funds right now. So leave our room and go to the opportunity funds webinar. Thank you, Sarah. It was very nice to have you here. And we are going to upload this presentation to, of course, first I will send to you, and then we upload the presentation to our YouTube video.
Perfect. Great. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a good afternoon.